The movie is set in a dystopian America, where a deadly pandemic has spread through some northern states. The weird thing about this pandemic is that anyone who speaks will die. A news report shows graphic images of some people that fell victims to the pandemic. In another video, a terrified woman is seen recording herself while inside a car. Her daughter's mouth has been taped off so she doesn't scream, and the woman is holding a sign which mentions, "Don't make noise." Due to all this, the government has declared a state of emergency, while suggesting everyone to stay indoors and switch off their phones. Just a few days later, the pandemic has already decimated parts of the country. In an underground metro, there's blood and dead bodies everywhere. The surviving passengers have taken refuge inside train carriages, nervously hoping for the catastrophe to end. Suddenly, a baby starts crying and his mother fails to make him stop. Terrified of the noise, a group of passengers proceed to kick the baby out of the train, but the mother decides to leave with him. Sadly, her decision turns out to be fatal, as in just a matter of seconds, something catches up to them. Following this, the movie rewinds back to the time where it all started. A group of archaeologists are digging through uncharted caves in Pennsylvania, 1,000 feet beneath the Appalachian Trail. They come across a massive never-seen-before dark chamber and begin to celebrate. However, suddenly, they hear strange noises coming from inside it, and lo and behold, the researchers come under attack by unknown flying creatures who instantly kill them and fly out of the mine. The movie then cuts to a high school in Montclair, New Jersey. A deaf teenager named Ally Andrews is waiting for a bus when she realizes that a bunch of douchebags are mocking her for being deaf. She ignores them and decides to walk back home. Ally lost her hearing ability in a car accident 3 years ago. She also lost her paternal grandparents in the crash. She communicates with others through sign language, lip reading, and speaking. Meanwhile, a guy named Rob shows up and offers to walk her home. They both have a major crush on each other but always fall short of admitting it. At work, Ally's father, Hugh, gets a call from his wife, Kelly, who informs him that their daughter was again bullied at school. This upsets him, but there's not much he can do about it. Ever since Ally lost her hearing ability, Hugh and Kelly have become very protective of their daughter and often have fights about it. Ally lives with her parents, brother, Jude, and terminally ill maternal grandmother Lynn. The Andrews family also have a pet dog, Otis. At night, Rob sends Ally a fascinating video of a colony of what looks like bats flying somewhere. At 3 a.m., Kelly wakes Ally up and asks her to come downstairs. She notices that her entire family is in the living room, glued to the TV, looking worried. All windows are closed and the fireplace has been covered by plastic. The TV is reporting that several U.S. cities are under attack by an unknown species of pterosaur-like creature, referred to as vesps. They were unleashed onto humanity when some researchers blasted through the ancient rockfall that was sealed off for millions of years. The creatures can kill a human in a matter of seconds and use noise to locate their prey. Because of this, the U.S. government has declared a state of emergency and asked people to stay indoors and quiet. As everyone watches the news in horror, Ally suggests that they head to the countryside, as it is quieter and safer. Hugh agrees, and everyone starts packing their belongings. One of Hugh's friends, Glenn, also joins them, and together, they set out for the countryside. Later, Ally and her family stop at a gas station to refuel their cars. She uses the opportunity to take Otis out to pee while Hugh tries to keep his son Jude entertained. Suddenly, he hears Ally screaming and quickly runs to her. A man has held her at gunpoint and is demanding keys to Hugh's car. Hugh continues to go along, however Glenn makes an appearance to his salvage and messes the looter up. Panicked, the Andrews take the man's firearm and drive away, passing on the looter to be killed by the animals. In any case, before they could get far, the gathering runs over a huge gridlock that is impeding every one of the interstate roadways. Glenn proposes another option and they go rough terrain. While passing through the open country, Glenn unexpectedly goes over a crowd of escaping deers. He rapidly turns his vehicle to stay away from an accident, however winds up tumbling down the dike. The Andrews quickly go to keep an eye on him, and think that he is alive. Tragically, he is caught inside the vehicle. The family takes a stab at all that to save Glenn, including utilizing a nut wrench to open the entryway, and calling 911, yet nothing works. Finally, Glenn understands that he is in the end going to drain out, so he requests that Hugh give him his weapon and leave with his loved ones. Upset, Hugh would rather not let his closest companion be, yet for his family, he concurs. Sadly, similarly as the family is going to leave, Otis detects something and starts yapping over and again. This draws in the vesps and they assault the vehicle with enormous power. At the point when all trust is by all accounts lost, Glenn, who is as yet caught inside the vehicle, begins shooting his weapon to draw the animals towards him. He figures out how to save the Andrews for a brief time, yet winds up dead simultaneously. This time, Otis continues to bark. Thus, left with no decision, Hugh pursues the hard choice and lets the canine out of their vehicle to kick the bucket. The Andrews then, at that point, understand that they can't drive away in that frame of mind without drawing in the Vesps, so they choose to forsake it. Hugh lights his vehicle ablaze to divert the Vesps and sets out by walking with his family to track down a safe house. They stroll for quite a long time and Lynn battles to stay aware of her hacking, seriously jeopardizing the family. Before dinner time, the family goes over a disconnected house encompassed by a high wall and locked door. When they try getting in, the gate makes a noise and attracts the Vesps. Soon, the homeowner also comes out with a gun, seemingly unaware of the current situation. She tries threatening the intruders, but the Vesps immediately swarm her and rip her apart. After the incident, Hugh looks around the property for an alternate exit and comes across a storm drain tunnel that leads into the compound. He ventures into the property first to make sure it's safe. After getting a green signal from Hugh, Ally and others enter the tunnel, but inside, Jude comes across a rattlesnake, which makes him scream and attract the Vesps. The Vesps kill the snake, but they also bite Kelly's leg. With time running out, Hugh quickly operates a wood chipper to distract the creatures and shreds them to death. In the next scene, the family finally enters the house and cleans Kelly's wounds. Before going to bed, Ally contacts Rob and finds out that his parents have been killed by the creatures. Worried, she asks him to get out of the city, but before Rob can respond, the call disconnects. Meanwhile, amidst all the chaos and despair, a religious cult is on the rise that is seeking new recruits and killing non-believers. The next day, Lynn again examines Kelly's wounds and learns that it is infected. Realizing that the wound is going to continue to spread without antibiotics, Hugh heads out to find a medical store with Ally. After walking silently for an hour, they come across a deserted city and look for a medical store. Ultimately, they find one, but it is dark, deserted and stinking of rotten flesh. As Hugh collects the medicine, Ally notices Vesp eggs growing inside the human corpses lying around the store. She inadvertently makes some noise and alerts the creatures. Now, the duo is stuck inside the store with several Vesps. Fortunately, Hugh thinks of a plan. He silently lights a mop on fire and activates the fire alarm. The noise from the fire alarm and water sprinkler distract the creatures, and the father-daughter duo manages to escape unharmed. Outside, they are approached by a reverend, who seems to have cut his tongue. It turns out, he is the leader of the cult that's going around recruiting people and killing the non-believers. The reverend asks them to join his flock, but Hugh refuses and walks away. They manage to safely return home with antibiotics and Kelly begins to recover. The next day, Ally approaches Hugh and informs him that she watched the news at night, which stated that the Vesps can't stand intense cold weather. Hence, people above the Arctic Circle are surviving. She also tells him about regions called the Grey. These are places where electricity has gone out and people are being cut off from the world, and the battery of their phones and computers are dying. It is almost as if the Dark Ages have arrived again. Later that day, the Reverend and his cult members show up at Hugh's hideout. He again asks Hugh to join their cult, but again gets turned down. As Hugh continues to return inside, the Reverend stops him and thinks of him an unpleasant note, saying, "The young lady is rich." Hugh finds them and down and returns inside. The Reverend and his clique individuals expect Hugh will bring his fruitful little girl for them, however he gets back with a damn rifle, all things considered. Be that as it may, the maniacs are unfazed, as they probably are aware Hugh won't shoot them, which would make a noisy commotion and risk his loved ones. In spite of this, Hugh takes the security of the rifle off and the religion individuals at last disappear. Sometime thereafter, Partner receives a message from Lute. He tells her that he is going north of the country to the shelter. It is where everyone individuals can be protected from the animals. Be that as it may, before Partner will get some information about it, she loses her telephone signal. At 12 p.m., Hugh and Kelly awaken to commotions coming from outside. He snatches his rifle and checks the primary entryway while Kelly awakens Lynn and Jude. Hugh doesn't see anybody on the entryway. Be that as it may, when Jude checks the entryway, he sees a young lady his age remaining outside. The young lady looks apprehensive, so Kelly chooses to give her access. Stressed, the Andrews family gives her a warm cover and asks her how she arrived, yet the young lady doesn't answer. All of a sudden, Kelly sees a few scars on the young lady's jaw and Hugh investigates her mouth. A modern-day miracle, the young lady doesn't have a tongue. She is an individual from the Reverend's faction and undoubtedly sent by him. The Andrews family have been set up. They actually look at her abdomen and understand that she has been tied with different cell phones. In the meantime, Partner awakens in her room and notification a telephone taped to a cross on her window. The telephone alert out of nowhere begins to go off and draws in the animals, cracking partner out. The telephones lashed to the young lady additionally begin to go off and the family scrambles to take them off. Hugh dumps the telephones in water while partner runs into the lounge. As everything is occurring, the animals begin breaking their windows. Hugh and Jude attempt to keep the vesps out while partner and others go into the cellar to stow away. Tragically, concealed religion individuals had been hanging tight for partner, and they snatch her from the cellar. Kelly goes after the men yet they kick her into the wall, wrecking her. The men complete partner and the young lady additionally goes with them. Angered, Lynn goes out and follows the men outside. She gets 2 of the 3 men and signs partner to escape. The young lady obliges and when she arrives at a piece far, Lynn, who is as yet holding the religion individuals, begins shouting as loud as possible. This in the end draws in the vesps and they destroy the 3 people. The remainder of the family additionally comes outside yet the best anyone can hope for at this point is to watch with dismay. All at once, the Reverend appears and snatches partner. Prior to leaving, he even insults Hugh to remain quiet. In any case, exploiting the downpour, Hugh, Kelly and Jude discreetly follow them, and send off an unexpected assault. A maddened Hugh chokes the religion chief with the rifle however the Reverend wounds him with a blade in the midriff. In any case, Hugh calls his entire existence and again gets back up. He utilizes his late closest companion, Glenn's exemplary headbutt and wrecks the religion chief as Kelly takes the other faction individuals out. She then helps her better half by removing the blade from his midriff. The Reverend endeavors to get up yet Hugh again gets on his case. This time, he pounds the religion chief to death with the rifle. After the experience, the Andrew family get back while the speechless young lady leaves with her mom. Following this, the film quick advances by half a month, where the family is seen journeying through the country. They at last show up at the place of refuge that is the asylum. In the last scene, partner and burglarize are hunting vesps in the woodland. The film closes as partner puzzles over whether the vesps will adjust to the cold and in the event that the people will adjust to the existence of quietness, as she did when she lost her hearing.